Hey guys, how's it going? This is different. Welcome to your first class, first online class. This is how things will go. I will be giving kind of little video lessons like this each day. You'll find it, you'll find the slideshow, you'll find the video, and you'll have to watch it all the way through on our class page on MyKES. If you just look up there, you can click on assignments, and each day there will be a discussion assignment that you will fill in an answer to. That'll be mostly how your assignments go, but we'll get more to that later. I hope you guys are all well. I certainly am. I'm keeping busy at home. This is a really interesting time. It's an extraordinary time to be alive. It's absolutely unprecedented what we're going through right now. Usually, obviously, I like to be teaching people. We all like to be around each other all the time. It's a very social world we live in. And right now, we're going through a time where to save people's lives, we need to stay at home. And it is absolutely fascinating when you really think about everything that's going into what's happening. The philosophy around it, the socialization around it is really interesting to think about how we're all dealing with this. And also the fact that we are allowed to go outside. I love that. I've been running a lot. I've been exercising outside and walking the dog a lot. I'm sure you guys have too, which is really nice to have that freedom at least, right? So we do still have some freedoms, but it's that freedom of being together, which is what we love so much, right? Especially when something happens that is so hard for us, so tragic. Usually we come together, right? When a global catastrophe happens, usually the way we deal with it is we all come together, we all congregate. But what's fascinating right now is there is a tragedy happening, but we can't come together. And I just find that really, really interesting. I hope you guys are all spending some time at home, having a great time, learning some new things possibly. It's a great time to start a new instrument. It's a great time to start a hobby. If you would like to have access to all of the chanter lessons I'm going to be posting soon, you are more than welcome. You just need to order yourself a chanter. Some of you already play chanter, and you will be doing that, which is excellent. It'll be a great use of your time. I just wanted to welcome everybody. We've got Vinny, you're in Berwick, just down the road here. We've got Caitlin in St. Margaret's Bay. Jacob, you're in 3 Mile Plains. Alex is in Windsor. Anne, hello, you're in Cape Breton. Cooper's in Kentville. Matt's in Hammonds Plains. Sasha, you're just across the dikes in Wolfville. Gabby, you're in Windsor. Ale, you're in Timberley. Nick Woods, I don't know where you are, but I'm sure you're somewhere. You're the location of your home, like your actual technical home where you are located, is not on the MyKES, like on the MyKES site or whatever. So I'm sure you are somewhere. Maybe you're in space like I am right now. In any case, you guys are all home because you have to be home, which is fascinating, and I've talked about that already. But this is how things will work. Let's kind of just get right to it. I'm going to get right to it. We're going to review the causes of World War I. Pretty simple lesson at the beginning here, folks, because you guys should all know this. We went through this before the break started, and so I'm just kind of getting our minds back into this global catastrophe that happened, which was called World War I. About 100 years ago, in 1918, 1919, World War I was just ending. We had a similar global pandemic that we will also talk about in this class. This was called the Spanish flu, and it's fascinating. Just because we're covering World War I, and so around that time there was this other massive global thing happening called the Spanish flu, so we will dedicate a class or two to that for sure, so that you can learn a little bit more about that, and we can communicate with each other about that, because it's a fascinating thing. It was a lot worse than what we're going through today. I want to tell you that. I want to make sure you know that. The Spanish flu was a lot worse. We have a lot more medical advancement now, and so things will be different. However, a lot of people died in the Spanish flu, and that is what we are trying so hard to prevent from happening. So just reviewing those causes of World War I, we have the main causes, right? Main causes, I love that. M for militarism. Nations built up their militaries to ensure their own security or power. A for alliances. The agreements between countries meant that one event could pull many countries into a conflict. Imperialism, remember that phrase, the sun never sets in the British Empire? European nations competed to create empires, increasing tension between them, but also creating resentment from those being ruled in those areas. Okay, makes sense. And of course, for the end is nationalism. Countries competing to become more and more intense in their pride. We actually see this, unfortunately, happening even today with our neighbors to the south. And not all of them, obviously, but with their leader right now, Donald Trump constantly is pushing a nationalist agenda, very much so. Where things like when he says America first, and we'll get through this. We're the United States of America. Of course we can do that. That's radical, irrational nationalism, and that's kind of dangerous. It's kind of dangerous because we see the situation with this pandemic in New York. I wouldn't want to be in New York right now. It's not going to be a very safe place. It's just mainly due to the fact that the leadership of that country didn't act quickly enough on this pandemic. Instead, I would say that he sort of chose nationalism as a form of response to this, right? Saying, the U.S. is the best country in the world, we can deal with this, and then really not doing much, or doing things but way too late. Too little, too late. We'll go through each one. Militarism. Militarism could have caused the war due to the naval and arms race that was happening at the time. The main event of militarism causing World War I was the naval rivalry, which was made after 1900. Britain had the most powerful navy in the world. The new Kaiser Wilhelm announced his intention to build a bigger German navy than Britain. So I said that before. We talked about the militaries. Germany is like, we're going to have a bigger navy than you guys, and some other country is saying, we're going to have a bigger navy than you. And so they started to build. And as you compete, those militaries get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the forces grow and grow and grow. Britain feels very threatened. Germany feels very threatened. Austria-Hungary feels very threatened, and the list goes on. Alliances. Alliances showed a great dent in World War I. In 1914, the 6 most powerful countries in Europe divided into 2 opposing alliances. Sides, teams, that's what it is. It's like 2 teams playing a sport against each other. But this sport involved a lot of death. It was not a fun sport. The Triple Alliance consisted of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, which was formed in 1882, and the Triple Entente included Britain, France, and Russia, and that was formed in 1907. So fascinating that some of these alliances happened far before World War I happened. Like I said, they were long-term causes. These alliances between countries made people frustrated, right? Made people frustrated. And so, because it's basically just growing your power. And that's how things happen. Imperialism. It's the I in Maine, imperialism. I love this little cartoon here. We'll talk about that in a second. One of the most significant causes of World War I was imperialism, which is where a system where a powerful nation rules and exploits one or more colonies, right? Rules over a colony. Colonization has a lot to do with this as well, right? Colonies that come in and just create society from their colony in a new colony. Sorry, that was a little confusing, but remember that phrase, the sun never sets on the British Empire. England is by far the most imperialist nation in the past. They literally have gone everywhere and colonized everywhere in a way that really took over, right? Other countries have colonized in different ways and didn't necessarily take over, but England took over. We're all speaking English. Obviously, the English language is the most common, most popular language in the world, and one of the most, anyways. And that is due to England being so powerful in the past. And nationalism. Nationalism was a great cause of World War I because of countries being greedy, not negotiating. It really is about greed. Nationalism shows that you are proud of your country and want to be the very best. A lot of causes all linked back to countries all wanting to be better than each other. right? And again, I've got a picture of the states there just because that it truly is that he's pushing a nationalist agenda right now, and it can get a little frightening when we're trying to come together to fix something, and we have the leader of the United States of America still they're saying that they're better than everybody else, and that they'll fix this problem. That's just not necessarily how it's going to work. You can't fix a problem by literally saying you're better than everybody else. And this is exactly what some countries were doing back here. We're repeating history in a little way, which is a little sad. But in any case, that is what nationalism means. As you guys all know, the direct cause of World War I, and this is debatable, this is very debatable, but some historians have forever kind of considered this as one of the direct causes. Remember that metaphor of the bomb and the fuse, all those long-term causes coming down the fuse, and then the explosion was this direct cause, which of course was the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, born on December 18th, 1863 in Austria. While in power, he attempted to restore Austro-Russian relations while maintaining an alliance with Germany. In 1914, a Serb nationalist assassinated Ferdinand in Sarajevo. Remember that story? You all wrote wonderful newspaper articles on that. That was like your last assignment. And 1 month later, Austria declared war on Serbia. And remember, when one country declares war on the other, it's not like today that's happened, and maybe we do have countries at war with each other. For example, Ukraine and Russia right now, they're not very friendly. Russia wants that land back. There is a little war, but it's not as, the alliances are not as huge as they were. I suppose there are still alliances, but here, when these two countries went at war with each other, it just so happened that both those countries were allied with massive powers, and boom, World War I begins. Your first assignment will be in 2 parts. Number 1, you're going to answer a prompt on the discussion forum under assignments. Likely at the end of every video, you will always have to do this. This is going to be most of your assignments will just be contributing to a discussion forum. You will clearly find them. It'll be lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. This one is under lesson 1, of course, to the online program. In 1 paragraph, describe how World War I began in your own words, right? Pretty simple. I know you guys know this because we've studied it for quite some time now, but I'm just letting you, I'm sort of beginning with this as a bit of a review, which will make it a little easier as we go along here, and get our minds set back into World War I, which is what we're looking at right now. And so that's number 1. I want you to go to the discussion forum, and you'll clearly find it. I just want you to enter just a paragraph, a few sentences of how World War I began. Okay, a paragraph is, I want to see about 5-6 sentences. Okay, and then the second part of your assignment today is just to get you guys sort of familiar with Flipgrid. I think that you're familiar with it through Mr. Campbell across the hall here. Mr. Campbell loves this page, and it's a very neat site, and so I am interested in using it for sure. It's essentially a forum like the one that we're going to be using on MyKES, but it's with videos, which is really cool. So I want you to just go there. I want you to go to that flipgrid.com/socialstudies7h. That is our that's the ID for the class, Social Studies 7H. I think that's all you need. You'll fill in your little, you'll log in with your KES email, and then you will answer that prompt in a video and share it, and then you guys can talk to each other on that. That would be fun. So say hello and share a fun fact about how your March break has been so far. How have you been spending your social distancing time? Folks, it's been total pleasure, and actually I'm really looking forward to this. You will be doing this each day. You'll just go on, find the lesson, play the video, complete the assignment, and there'll be lots of fun other things to do as well as we get going here. I'll have some optional videos that you'll watch. I've got some ideas. It'll be fun. Have a great day. Thanks.